Hello everyone, my name is Pixlriffs and welcome back to the Minecraft Survival Guide, although probably not like we've ever seen it before. This is episode 350 and in honor of the RTX survival series that I've just done recently, I thought I would have a go at updating, or rather converting, the Minecraft Survival Guide world into Minecraft RTX on Bedrock Edition. This is obviously not a permanent change, I'm just doing it for basically a world tour in RTX, and the results are pretty cool, I've got to say. There's a lot of stuff that looks very, very different, and there are a few errors, as you'll probably see from over there on the hillside. There are a few blocks that for whatever reason just converted weirdly when I converted this world, and later on in this video I'm going to do a tutorial on how you can convert your Java Edition worlds to Minecraft Bedrock Edition so that you can check them out in Minecraft RTX if you have an RTX capable machine, of course. Now, this video is not sponsored by Nvidia in the same way that the others were, but I'm still really excited to have a look around with Minecraft RTX graphics and see how things look in my world. I'll also point out that in terms of resource packs, I've had to download a specific vanilla resource pack for this. We are currently using, if I go to my packs here, the Vanilla RTX by Nicinator, and I will leave a link to that in the description so you folks can check this out. The pack is compatible with Minecraft 1.16, so it should have all of the blocks that we've used in this world available in RTX with like slightly adjusted textures and emissive textures and that kind of thing. So for a start, let's take a look around. I've got creative mode enabled, of course, because we're just going to be using this as a bit of a world tour. Let's take a look at the farmhouse. I think the coolest thing around here is the sheep farm, even though the conversion to Bedrock Edition has left all of the sheep white sheep instead of the different colors. The glass in front of them is actually making them look sort of like they are that color of sheep in a way, because the glass is completely like changing the color in there. And as you can see, we got some really cool reflections in that. I really like being able to see behind me like this. Stops the creepers from sneaking up on me, I guess. And, of course, a lot of the stuff in this area is not exactly designed with RTX lighting in mind, so I haven't really done anything for effect here, but as you walk into the barn, aside from the fact that there are these weird blocks here that seem to have replaced air blocks, like I don't have a pile of dirt here or anything, these just seem to be like null blocks that were left from the world conversion process, and there are chunks of my barn missing, which is a little bit worrying, but yeah, I like the atmosphere of RTX lighting a lot. It really kind of fills up the space with something that feels a lot like natural light. The skeleton horse has somehow survived, although, yeah, there's a couple of other horses in there that are missing their armor. As we go into the farmhouse, nice little cozy environment in here. Let me get out of flying mode so I'm walking around a little bit. And Mendelssohn is... his name tag's looking a little bit weird, and he is a shepherd. Okay, great. Well, congratulations on your new profession. I guess there is a lot of wool around here, so that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, nice and cozy in here. My other villagers apparently seem to have disappeared, and I just like all of the metal stuff, all of the reflective stuff. The highlights in the spruce door. Let me just climb over all of these weird blocks and head up into town. There's going to be a few of these that are just weird and updated. We're going to get to the museum a little bit later as well. I also want to check out what my custom ski resort mountain biome looks like with RTX. I think that's going to feel pretty special. The sun is directly overhead right now, so we're getting like a full-on top-down lighting of this area with a few clouds drifting past as well. And you've seen in the RTX series, if you've been watching that, how interesting it is that the clouds can actually be affected by light sources on the ground if they are high up enough. Let's take a look around town and see how everything looks. I think the thing I'm most interested in looking at over here is Old Town, because in Old Town we actually have a pretty large expanse of water which is going to take on those beautiful reflections. And while water in RTX does look a little bit strange if you're used to regular Minecraft water looking so blue, this water seems so still and clear by comparison and doesn't have all of the texture that we're used to with Java Edition shaders. I think the results here sort of speak for themselves. When you look at the amount of reflection that gets added to the water here, and the way the reflection sort of blurs and then comes back into focus as you're walking around, is really very, very cool. And I just wanted to see the reflection of the junk boat here in the water. The junk boat has the kelp farm in, of course, and that's looking pretty cool, if you ask me. I love the outline of that against the skyline reflected in the water. Pretty picturesque and really cool while all the bamboo grows. Now, a while back I did a little bit of extra work underwater around here, just kind of giving the whole of Old Town this broken down swamp feel, and it really shows. Like, you can see the light filtering through the water, and of course the water is really murky in here because it's a swamp and it has that natural kind of brown watercolor, but this really lends like a gloomy atmosphere to the entire thing as you're swimming around underneath the various pontoons and stuff that have floated out here in the water of Old Town. Now, a lot of this is going to feel a little bit different, but taking a stroll through the town and looking at all of the lighting blocks in the light shop that I built down here, this place is brand new, it feels like. Just look at all of the shiny textures, especially in the redstone lamps. It feels really cool, as though those actually have like glass over the top of glowstone. Is always the way I've imagined redstone lamps to be, with that kind of iron framework around them, and this is really something special. I like these a lot, especially when they're lit up like that. They really provide a completely different ambience. Outside in the town, let's take a look at the ravine, of course. This ravine has, again, a lot of those weird loading errors, thanks to, I think, just the conversion process in Mcc Tool Chest. But if I remove a few of these, of course, we're standing on stained glass right now, which is what I use to create that kind of foggy effect in this ravine. And with the RTX glass, it's completely different. It's very, very dark down there, and without any light sources lighting it from below, you can sort of see it where I've put the magma blocks down there through the glass, but a lot of that is in the reflections of the magma blocks on the surface, and so you could do some really neat stuff with that if you wanted to create some optical illusions of the magma blocks disappearing down into the glass and creating these rivers of magma below. This is going to be a cool section of town to walk through at night. The back alleys and stuff like that really start to feel a little bit more cozy and sometimes a little bit more scary. But if we walk through into the center of town here, this is the kind of Halloween area that I set up a while ago, and while it's lacking the details on the banners because of world conversion, it definitely has a different ambience to it. The glow from all of the pumpkins and the lanterns really sets off this place, and the whole thing with the wool everywhere feels a lot more festive. So that's really cool and very, very atmospheric. Once again, you can see the light from the town kind of lighting the clouds from below. If we head up here, you'll see that everything, especially over there at the mountain, that is wild looking. We should take a look at that in a second. But yeah, the light from the town is actually bouncing off the clouds there, and the clouds in the distance feel dark, while everything around here, there's actually light pollution in Minecraft. That's a weird concept, but certainly one that I'm pretty happy with. The whole look of these row of shops up here as well, with the sea lanterns out front, those look so clean. It definitely feels a lot nicer up here and a lot more well lit than it does down there in the center of town with those back alleys. And we're ignoring the creepers on the roofs of my builds, of course, because we're in creative mode. We don't need to worry too much about those. I love the look of this, though. Hello, let's talk about this mountain right now, because that definitely feels a lot more like a white-hot lava flow now that we've got all of the shroom lights and stuff giving off the full light. And like the mountain we found in the RTX series, it's really lighting up the clouds in this area. It really stands out on the mountain there, especially at night. During the day, you don't see a whole lot of this because it sort of blends into the background. Let's do a quick comparison between the two of those. Let's do a time set command so we can have it basically be the middle of the day. I think we can do noon, can't we? Yeah, we'll do noon. And while it still stands out on the mountain there, it doesn't really provide as much light as it does at night. When you set the night to midnight, it's a completely different vibe over there, and it really lights up all of the environment with a super atmospheric glow. And as I fly through the town, obviously it's processing a lot of stuff, but every single point of light, every torch that I've laid down here sort of glitters in the distance as it all swims into focus, and the RTX pack processes what has light bouncing off it and what doesn't. And it's kind of beautiful in a way, kind of appropriate for the time of year. It's that holiday season when everything is feeling a little bit twinkly and Christmassy, at least for me. Let's quickly drop over to the industrial district real fast. Let's take a look around at some of this stuff. We've got the sugarcane farm in there, of course. My storage room has also seen some of these odd update blocks around the place, and of course it's messed with the signage because signs and item frames can't overlap in Bedrock Edition, or at least I don't think they can. It's definitely broken a bunch of them if they can. So let's do a quick wander around here. Let's actually make it daytime again so we don't have so many mobs wandering around, and let's take a look inside the villager trading hall. Something tells me my automatic door design isn't really working. Hello? Can I come in, please? No, we'll have to bust our way in. Unfortunately, the redstone didn't convert all that well either, but looking around this place, yeah, this definitely feels very, very nice. And some of the villagers are even still here, which is a surprise. I expect a lot of them will not be librarians, but hey, maybe one or two of them are. This guy is, oh, he's a cartographer. Well, the cartographers go over here, mate. What are you this time? You are, oh, you're a librarian. Okay, well, everyone's just swapped places, I guess. This place really takes on a slightly different character with realistic lighting, and of course, it's the kind of thing that we could use shader packs to reproduce in Java, but for a start, it's kind of interesting to me to do this with the official implementation of ray tracing or like path tracing in Minecraft. And also, I feel like the RTX pack is a little bit misunderstood because ultimately what it's doing is not trying to make Minecraft prettier, which is what shaders try and do. RTX is really all about simulating the way light behaves in the real world. It's more about realism than it is about beautification. And so a lot of the time you'll see shaders layering on like artificial effects to make things look a little bit better, whereas the RTX pack is really just trying to have light turn up where light normally turns up in the world. So light emitting blocks and stuff like that actually having consequences for the way the environment looks and behaves. I've got to say, it's actually really cool looking out of the window and seeing how the light refracts out there and just kind of looking around the sides of glass blocks and this weird sort of infinite mirror illusion that happens. That rabbit out there looks huge, by the way. Is that just how big rabbits are on Bedrock Edition, or is that some sort of trick of the light? Nope, rabbits are still the old size, I guess, in Bedrock Edition. They are kind of enormous, and yet my rabbit pen is kind of overflowing with them at this point. But as we're walking through Founder's Forge, I definitely want to drop in on the castle, and I've set the time to sunset, but frozen the day-night cycle so that we can take a look around inside of the castle, because this place obviously has a lot more atmosphere to it. I managed to do a lot of lighting, decorating, and stuff like that, and it definitely shows in rooms like this. The vibe here, although obviously, yeah, all of the decorations are a little bit off right now with the item frames and stuff not having converted properly. It definitely feels like you've had to light up a space so that it has adequate lighting on the inside, and I went a little bit crazy with the lights in here initially, but it really does feel like there's a nice warm glow coming from here, and people could do work in here while up towards the ceiling the light kind of dissipates and makes the ceiling a little bit more gloomy. I like that a lot. Around the castle, there's obviously going to be a few really nice spots to go into. The brewery is definitely looking nice and warm and is glowing slightly because of the magma blocks that I put in there to create that bubbly effect. That's looking very nice. And coming through here into the library, oh yes, now that's what I'm talking about, the gloomy rafters up there and a well-lit and cozy reading space. Very nice. The soldiers' mess hall is looking nice and bright as well, although all of the chickens seem to be standing on end. I think in the world conversion process, it just hasn't registered which orientation the item frames are set in, and so it's put them all upright as though they're attached to a wall, which feels a little bit strange. But oh yep, the fires are blazing merrily away, and there's stuff like this that I put in the world thinking that'll provide a nice light source for the area, but then in RTX it really just adds like a little bit of extra glow to it, and I love the way the light flickers against the wall. I have to do something with that at some point. We've also got the Botanist Tower over here, and this is really quite cozy feeling. I like how RTX lighting handles interiors a lot of the time, when if the light is just coming from a single torch, you really feel it. It definitely gives that nice cozy glow of a single space lit by a candle. Kind of goes along with that medieval feel a lot of the time. And the piston is the wrong way up. Okay, let's put that way up. There we go. And now we can sit in the chair and look out on the castle grounds. So with the light now fading in the distance, I think we're going to head out into the world and check out some of the other landmarks. We'll say goodbye to Founder's Forge for now, but I've really got to say that this feels like it really comes alive at night. Once the glow of the artificial lights takes over, the world really takes on a different character, and it feels like you are strolling around a nighttime city. Makes me wish I'd built some sort of modern city that we could look around in this sort of RTX pack and just have all of the lights coming out from the windows, and, you know, in the distant alleyways you could see, oh, that actually scared me slightly because I wasn't sure what that was. That was a sheep eating the grass in the alleyway. There you go. And all of these little kind of archways and stuff like that really take on a little bit more character at night, it feels like. The kind of situation where the welcoming doorway of a tavern is definitely going to be a nice port of call so that you can sit in a corner and relax instead of walking around the city. Well, I'm going to get cozy in a corner, grab myself a cup of tea, and I'll meet you guys elsewhere in the world where we'll check out what the mountains look like in Minecraft RTX. Hey folks, welcome back and welcome to the SNAHG ski resort. I thought I would pop myself over here just as the sun was rising on the distant horizon so that we could check out the mountain biome project in all its glory. And let me get out of fly mode so we can really explore on foot here. I really wish I'd been able to build up a little bit more of the ski village, but of course it all takes time and I couldn't really do too many tutorials just about building the same houses over and over again. Let's skate across the river, which once again has that lovely reflection to it. Let's hop up on the other side. Definitely feels a little bit Christmassy stopping over here, and look at the mountains in the distance. I expect some of this would be really nice to explore at night, and it certainly feels like the lights in the car park are twinkling there for the people who are just stopping in for the night. But man, we are going to get some pretty awesome views of this mountain biome once the sun rises. And let's go over here and check out my cozy little split A-frame house over here, and I really think this place is going to feel nice and cozy with that RTX lighting. Let's pop on through the door. Yeah, look at this. A fire burning in the hearth, some cozy sofas, and a lot of that natural light pouring in through the window as the day begins. That's super special feeling to me, and the whole room is going to feel a little bit more cozy. Yes, I like it. I like it. Feels like a nice study space. Some wonderfully lit wardrobes in there as well. Perfect space to spend a winter vacation. Let's hop outside and let's take a look at the mountains that we could ski down in all their glory. And I gotta say, it's always really special coming back to this place. I feel so happy that we were able to get this project done to the extent that we did, and look at that. It feels cold here. There's just something about the way the light bounces off the snow that doesn't feel like Minecraft anymore. It feels so much more of a real environment. Ignore the fact that the clouds are poking through the mountain, and I think it's just something about the way snow is rendered at a distance. It's also blending the snow together, and you're not seeing too many of those sharp edges because the lighting is a little bit smoother. It's compensating for distance a little bit. You'll see it over there in the individual blocks as we rise up here, but for the most part, this place looks absolutely gorgeous with realistic lighting. Just glancing off the snow of the peaks there, probably glistening in some of the icicles that we built coming down from those custom trees. I think this place looks pretty spectacular. And obviously, once we get a little closer, it's much more obvious where the geometry of all the blocks are, but wow, this place has atmosphere. I think that's the one thing RTX really adds more than anything else, is just bags of atmosphere. I actually feel like I'm standing on top of a frozen peak up here. The air feels crisp, although it may just be the fact that it's winter in the UK as well. I can look down into the valley below. We've got my render distance set pretty high, but I could go higher if we needed to, and we could just take a casual ski down the slopes here into the mountain caves and around. We've also got the glowing lights down there of that long-lost dwarven civilization that we were planning on building down here if we had infinite amounts of time and resources to do that. Let's hop on down here, though, because I really think once you turn a few corners on this mountain, you get to look back up the slopes and see how far you've come, and that's probably the best view of this custom mountain biome. But yeah, this view of the mountain always shows you the path up to the summit, all of those custom trees that we spent a bunch of time doing, the icicles dripping from the snowier slopes. I think it's a really special place, and I like the way it looks in Minecraft RTX a whole lot. And this cave at the base of the mountain was, of course, one of the highlights of the area. How could I miss this? This right here is a lot of stained glass and a lot of emissive light sources, concrete powder and stuff like that. It's really going to give this place a beautiful feel. And I feel like if I designed this in RTX, I would probably even have made it a little bit more subtle. It's because we were designing it with vanilla textures in mind like this that I kind of thought, you know what, we might as well go a little bit overboard. But with RTX, it's almost excessive at that stage. It almost feels like there is too much going on in the environment, but it is still very pretty to look at. This whole rainbow of crystals on the outside of this just giving us so much atmosphere as I make my way to the probably completely non-functional ski lift. And with the sun setting in the sky, it feels like the perfect time to return to the ski village for a nice warm fireside chat and a little bit of food. So I think we're probably going to leave this area and move on to my most recent pet project, the museum. Let's head over there and we'll take a quick tour of the museum in its current state before we wrap up this tour episode. Okay, now you're talking. That looks really, really cool. I wanted to make sure that we got this at night before I set the time to day, just so you can see some of the lighting effects going on here, because the dragon as lit from below really looks quite special. I like that a lot. Okay, well, let's set the time to day. Let's do a quick time set command like so, and there we go. Now we're going to get to see the museum during the day, and it looks pretty nice so far. Obviously, we still need to work a lot on the structure, so there is so much left to be done here, but the zombie family has even been preserved. Well, some of them have, from the conversion process. There's a couple of regular zombies there. We are missing the chicken jockey and the drowned, but the husk is in there at least, and get these blocks out of here. Get these weird blocks out of my museum. We can take a quick tour, starting with the dirt and grass exhibit, and oh man, just the glass. The glass alone, I really wish was somehow possible in vanilla Minecraft, because that really feels like an actual solid glass barrier, and something about the way the light refracts through the glass is making that feel like it's a sea lantern only set a slab down into the floor when it's actually not. It's a full block. That's wild. Okay, let's take a quick look around. Ignore the fact that the lecterns are all facing the same way, because that's another byproduct of the world conversion process, I think. It's really got some atmosphere in here, and I've had to light it pretty well, but I really do like how the light behaves in this room. It actually feels like it's lit for museum visitors now, which is very, very cool. Stepping out into the tree exhibit, obviously lots of natural light coming in from the dome overhead, and we've dotted a few torches around the room just for lighting the area up a little bit for mob spawn prevention, but just looking around, and oh, this pack does some wild stuff, by the way. This pack does some really, really cool stuff to the veins in the trees from the nether. The warped and crimson trees look extra special, and yeah, it's so nice just having natural light filter in this way and feel like the trees are actually sort of growing in a greenhouse type of environment. We can have a quick wander around the flowers exhibit. Let's see how much of my lush cave simulation down here is working out for us. Actually, more than I expected. That's kind of nice. And yeah, the azalea sapling, that's still such a funny effect. I really, really like that. But this came together very nicely. A couple of the lily pads seem to have popped off from being in the wrong place, but man, yeah, this is very, very cool feeling, and I wonder what it's going to feel like if we can start using Minecraft RTX once the Caves and Cliffs update comes out, how atmospheric the entire world is going to feel at that point. Well, we'll see how that feels in the fullness of time, but for now, we can walk on through. What on earth is happening in this room? I think the soul campfires have reignited from the world conversion process as well, but that, despite the fact that, ignore the smoke particles for a second, how cool is it that the whole exhibit in here is sort of lit with this eerie blue light? I bet this looks wild at night. Let's set the time back to night and have a quick look at that. That's going to be, oh, yes. Oh, man, neon blue lighting. How cool does that feel? It's got a very cyberpunk kind of vibe to it, despite the fact that it is all fire right now. But man, imagine that. We could probably alternate that with the other campfires and have this really cool alternating blue and orange glow. That's pretty special. I'm probably going to set it back to day anyway, because I don't necessarily want the entire room to be in darkness, but look at that. That's pretty cool, even during the day. The ores exhibit is also looking very nice, and here is where we get to see the reflective properties of each of these materials. I love how shiny the iron block is. The lapis block is kind of muted and matte by comparison, same with the coal block, but of course gold, super shiny, redstone just oozes power, and then diamond and emerald are of course super shiny. And oh man, like, can you imagine stumbling upon diamond ore and it having reflections like that in vanilla Minecraft? That's so cool. I would love to see that just glittering in the wall of a cave, and the emerald ore likewise. That makes me love emerald ore even more than I do, and you guys probably know I love emerald ore quite a lot. So it's really cool seeing all of this in its natural environment. One thing I'm slightly disappointed by is that texture pack makers haven't given redstone blocks the emissive effect when they emit particles like that, because that's how it works in vanilla Minecraft. But maybe that's just something that they can add. I think it's the same with lit furnaces right now. In terms of like the block state, they can't swing it to be one or or the other. It has to be both for some reason. But man, having a whole pile of diamonds just sat there glistening in the distance, it's making them all the more inviting to break down with fortune. And this room is something I really wanted to check out because of the way I've decided to have the ceiling and have lights come down through the ceiling, leave that natural light coming in through the trapdoors and have it all just kind of diffuse throughout the room. And you can actually see the light coming through the individual spaces of the trapdoors. When you look at the way the beams of light there are separated, that's actually coming through the individual transparent areas in the trapdoors, which is incredibly cool. And just walking around this room feels like it's got this sense of weight and atmosphere, even if a bunch of the exhibits are kind of messed up thanks to the fact that we're converting this world from Java into Bedrock. Like, the netherite tools have just been stolen by the conversion process, apparently. But look at how the stuff stands out in the item frames. Just like that extra little touch of 3D really, really helps. I wonder if the netherite armor has gone missing from this exhibit as well. It has! Where's all my netherite stuff gone? I think Mcc Tool Chest just doesn't know how to handle netherite, so it's kind of leaving it as is. Good thing I don't have the netherite beacon on display, huh? Well, certainly it is all available in the creative menu, so we could grab that and replace it if we wanted to, but I'm just happy looking around this place, and the netherite armor is sadly missing from the exhibit, but I think it still looks very, very neat. And of course, walking out into the enchanting area here, still hearing some mobs from below the surface, so I'm glad that hasn't changed. And of course, we've got our enchanting setup here in the corner. That is the museum in its entirety right now, and I'm really hoping that we can start adding some more exhibits to this in the next weeks and months. We're going to be finishing up this place to the best of my ability, and this might end up being the only time we tour the museum in Minecraft RTX. We might do a couple of shaders tours in Java Edition in future, but honestly, just seeing this place with all of this realistic lighting is really making me quite happy. And even though I haven't designed it with that in mind, it really shows in the way that they've implemented this how cool the realistic lighting stuff actually is. So that is probably where we're going to leave the tour portion of this video. But of course, I did promise you guys a bit of a tutorial, and in this series I do like to do tutorials. So what we're going to do is head out to a couple of external tools that you can use to convert your Java world into a Bedrock Edition world and apply Minecraft RTX. I'll show you a step-by-step of that process so that if you're interested and you have an RTX capable PC of your own, you can give this a try and tour your own world in Minecraft RTX. So this section of the video is going to be all about converting a Minecraft Java Edition world into Minecraft Bedrock Edition if you want to take a look around it with RTX textures and lighting. Now, this Minecraft world conversion guide has been put together by NVIDIA themselves in collaboration with a bunch of Minecraft creators. You'll see Pearlescent Moon and Gemini Tay's names in there, as well as a couple of others, and this is a really good, very, very detailed step-by-step guide on what you want to do if you want to convert your Java Edition worlds to Bedrock more permanently, especially because there are obviously some bugs to be worked out with the conversion process, some stuff that's weird between Bedrock and Java, and a lot of this guide will tell you how to eliminate most of those issues if you want to play more permanently in your RTX survival world. So I will scroll through a little bit of this and I'll point to the stuff that I'm going to use specifically, because what I'm doing here is really just showing you how to create a Java Edition world to Bedrock so that you can tour the world like I just did. Look around, take pictures with the fancy realistic lighting, and then probably go back to playing Minecraft Java Edition when you want to make more progress in your world. The thing you need from this list under the unofficial apps section is Mcc Tool Chest. I've already downloaded and used that to convert some stuff in my world as well. You might also want to use MCA Selector, which I've done tutorials on elsewhere in my channel, basically to trim down the amount of unnecessary chunks in your world and have those fill in with new terrain. That's going to be new Bedrock Edition terrain, not new Java terrain. So as with my original Bedrock Edition world download, you will notice that there are a few chunks that are just completely out of place. Like, they're even different biomes. The world generation will not be the same. But if you just want to tour your builds, then you're probably going to be able to just convert those areas where the builds are and take a look for yourself. There is a tutorial about MCA Selector chunk editing on this guide, so if you wanted to take a look at that, it will tell you how to use the program a little bit. And once again, you can refer to my guides on trimming down the chunks of your world if you want to do that. Now, going further down here, it will tell you about Mcc Tool Chest conversion, and that is what I'm going to be doing a quick tutorial on for you so that you can get your world out there in Minecraft RTX. Now we're going to open up Mcc Tool Chest on my other screen. I'll drag it over so you guys can see it, and this is going to be the tool you're working with. The first thing you will need to do before you even start using Mcc Tool Chest is open Minecraft Bedrock Edition and create a blank new world. Just create a new survival world, immediately save and close the game, and then that will appear when you open up Mcc Tool Chest. The first thing we're going to do is go to File, Open, and we're going to find that new world, which in this case, I just named Survival Guide RTX, right? This is a really, really small world. You'll notice that the final converted world is about 2 gigabytes on disk, but what we want is the blank survival world that we created. So I'll click on that one, and it will open all of the data for that in here. So it'll have like your player data, a little bit of like mapping data and that kind of stuff, and there'll be very little else in here. Then you just need to go to Tools, Convert to Bedrock, and then find a world from your Minecraft save folder, and it will allow you to select the folder if it doesn't come up right away, but basically that's going to go straight to the folder on disk where your Minecraft saves are, and in this case, of course, it's the .minecraft folder in the app data roaming folder. It'll be different if you're doing this on a different system potentially, but you just need to find the .minecraft folder, open up your saves folder, and then it will bring up this dialog which contains all of the worlds that you have in that folder. In my case, of course, the survival guide world is the one I want to convert. So I'll click on that, and then this dialog box comes up giving you options for what to convert. Now, of course, there are several things you might want to convert in the world. If you don't just want to convert the overworld, you can also convert the nether and the end if you've made significant progress there and you want to look at the builds that you built in those dimensions. You can also select a couple of different things. I recommend leaving most of these on the default. The one thing I assume you're going to want to do is come down here to where it says aquatic format and select 1.13 plus, because presumably what that does is convert the world to 1.13 versions and up. And for Minecraft Java Edition, that's the update aquatic. I don't know if Minecraft Bedrock Edition, the version numbers were a little bit different. Maybe 1.12 was the update aquatic for Bedrock, but then 1.13 plus is going to guarantee that anything that was added since then is also going to be included. The rest of these, there are a couple more technical options that you can largely just leave blank, and then you hit convert, and then depending on the size of your world, it's going to do a lot of conversion. In the case of the Minecraft Survival Guide world, I have a 2 gigabyte world on disk, which means I have loaded a lot of the terrain, and oh gosh, this is going to take a long time. This is going to take maybe like half an hour of your computer just processing these chunks. So go and put the kettle on, pour yourself a cup of tea, maybe sit down and watch a YouTube video or two, and then when you come back to the PC, hopefully it should be finished processing all of these chunks, and it will have converted your world into a Minecraft Bedrock Edition world. Eventually, when the process is done, it will give you a message letting you know the conversion has been completed and let you know how many chunks you converted, which in my case is a pretty obscenely high number. So the last thing we need to do here is close that, go to File, and hit Save As. And because I've made such a large world, it's going to temporarily crash the program. But don't worry, if it does this for you, just wait until it starts responding again. You should be able to choose File and Save As from the drop-down menu. There we go, we got it. And all we need to do is click Save As, and then you can choose to save over one of your existing worlds or create a new world, which is what I would recommend doing because obviously you don't want to lose any of the hard work you've already done. So we'll create a new world, we'll just give that a name, we'll call it RTX Survival Guide Test. Like so, we'll just hit OK, and that is going to get saved as a world that we can now open from the main menu of Minecraft Bedrock Edition on Windows 10. So we've loaded up Minecraft, we're going to hit play, and there it is at the top of the list, our RTX Survival Guide Test world that we just saved in Mcc Tool Chest. Now, before you launch the world, you are going to want to make sure that you have an RTX PBR resource pack downloaded. I will leave a link in the description to the one I've been using, which was the vanilla RTX pack. Before you load the world, you want to come over to this screen, scroll down on the left-hand side to Resource Packs, click on My Packs here, and you should find the RTX options you've downloaded along with any other texture packs that you own. I also downloaded this NVIDIA PBR pixel art pack that was made with Blockworks, but unfortunately that doesn't have all of the textures for the 116 blocks. Like I think Warped Wood and a few other things were missing and just had null textures. So what you want to do is click on this and click on Activate, like so. That's going to make it the active pack, and then when you click play, it will load up the world with the texture pack enabled that allows you to play with Minecraft RTX. And then when it loads up the world, you'll be at the world spawn point, which is not exactly the same as the world spawn point in Java Edition, so bear in mind that it might end up spawning you somewhere a little bit different. But now, here I am, basically around the back of Founder's Forge. There is the giant beehive that I made. I'm in survival mode, but you might want to just enable cheats and go into creative mode if you want to just fly around and take a look at your builds for a while. But you won't have any of the player data and stuff from Java Edition, so bear that in mind. If you wanted to keep all your items, you probably want to put them in a chest somewhere before you convert the world. But that is it. That is a look at how you can convert your Minecraft Java Edition worlds into Bedrock Edition and start playing around with them in RTX. And oh gosh, I'm being attacked by an Enderman. Help! And now there's a drowned throwing a trident at me. Oh gosh. Well, I died in my own RTX version of the Minecraft Survival Guide world. That's pretty funny, to be honest. There he is. Yep, he's coming to collect my corpse. Oh well. Well, folks, there we go. We're back at the Java spawn point. That should be a little bit better. Thank you, folks, so much for watching this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. I hope you enjoyed the tour. I hope you enjoyed the look at Minecraft Survival Guide in RTX. We're going to be back in Java, of course, for episode 351. Thank you so much for all your support on this series over the years. I always feel like saying that on every episode, but especially when we do these world tours, and it means a whole lot to me that you guys are still watching the channel after all this time. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixlriffs. Don't forget to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Please do subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye for now.